Hey guys, Uncle Ray. Welcome to another episode of the Crypto Bellwether. On this channel, we cut through the hype and the noise and we give you the non-biased information you can use to hopefully capitalize on the biggest opportunity in history, and that is this current bull run. Now guys, I don't always tell you what you want to hear, but I'm here to tell you, and this is why I started this channel, that you're at best getting half the story in crypto. When you hear about these projects that are going to rule the world or the best tech they've ever seen, the odds are all the players aren't in the article. And I'm going to give you an example. Look at this article on the screen. 5 crypto projects tokenizing real-world assets for 2024. And when they go through it, which ONDO's on the list, Mantra's on the list, I'm bullish on both those projects. I own ONDO, Polymesh. It's on there. Heck, when I was going through it, the Stellar XLM sponsored ad popped up 2 or 3 times. You know, Ripple XRP. The whole world is trying to get into tokenized assets. Fair enough. But that's what this video is all about. Because if you don't understand what I'm going to share with you, this piece of alpha, you're going to get a misunderstanding of the opportunity. Because see, when you listen to influencers in crypto or when you read crypto articles, they didn't interview all the players. And most of them, especially the influencers, they have no interest in educating you about maybe who's the dominant players, like when it comes to the flow of money or whatever. Well, guys, I take my money serious. Well, I want to know, it's like when I watch CNN, they're biased and they give you half the news. Just give me all the news, all of it. The good, the bad, the ugly, I'll figure it out. That's what I want in crypto. That's how I invest. And I highly recommend you guys do the same. That's what this video is all about. If you're going to pull the trigger and invest in real world assets and you think you have the knowledge, I'm guessing you'll have a different understanding and make different decisions after this video. Now, you could do some research and you're going to read on all the articles. I've seen countless influencers talk about, oh, so-and-so shows that there's, $16 trillion going to be tokenized by 2030. There's 30 trillion going to be tokenized by 2035. I get that, and it's probably true. But does that mean it's the massive opportunity for your favorite project? Does that mean XLM, XRP, ONDO, whoever are going to get the lion's share? How much of that 16 trillion, let's just use that, by 2030, how much of that is already spoken for by the dominant players that control that? Well, guys, it could be 98%. And that's what I want you guys to understand. Who are the competitors? It's not just crypto projects that are reported on. It's Wall Street and the banks and the governments, right? In all of crypto, you got to look at the big picture. So let's talk about it. All right, we know that BlackRock has already launched and tokenized assets on Ethereum. There's your first clue. Ethereum will get the lion's share, period. Whether you want to hear that or not, no debating it. Now, people don't talk about this because they think that, for some reason that, like companies like XLM or Ripple or Stellar or Ripple are going to step over and just take over Wall Street and the powerhouses of the JP Morgans and Goldman Sachs and the BlackRocks and Swift. It's not going to happen. It's laughable. But check this out, guys. JP Morgan has launched a tokenized collateral network. So not only are they tokenizing assets like we think about, they're going to tokenize them so that their clients, the biggest players in the world, like, Coca-Cola and Walmart, those type players, and I don't know if those two are their clients, but think about this. Their first tokenized collateral transaction Guess who their client was? BlackRock and Barclays, two of the most dominant powerhouses in the world. BlackRock is probably the top 3 dominant player in the world, and JP Morgan is the only one in front of them. So think about that, guys. If they're tokenizing assets to get to 16 trillion, there you go. Forget all the other things that they can do. Even if they control 16 trillion of assets, they can retokenize them and retokenize them. Like BlackRock has like 11 trillion under management. JP Morgan has close to that. If they just said, hey, let's just tokenize what we have, boom, they're already dominating 90% of the tokenized assets. Well, then when someone wants to borrow money, they can tokenize that transaction, tokenize the collateral. And then when that comes due, they retokenize it, right? It's endless. Now, here's what kicked off this article. Now, bear with me, guys. And again, the reason I want you to understand the big picture is it will give you the information and the knowledge so that if you see whatever project you want to invest in doing well, and you're like, oh, they're going to get the lion's share, they're going to keep moving, and you understand it, and you compare it to what I'm sharing with you, you might go, you know what? This is speculation moving this project. They're not going to get the lion's share. Take your profits, move on down the road. That's why you got to understand the big picture. All right. Now, the first thing I did when I read that article about Goldman Sachs launching 3 tokenized projects by the end of the year, I said, okay, what blockchain are they using? Well, guess what, guys? And this is the perfect example of why if you only do research inside of the crypto sphere, you are missing a lot of information. Wall Street and the legacy banks and the governments, they're all working together, indirectly and directly, to keep their dominance, right? The SEC, guys, is just a tool to weaponize against the world, to keep the JP Morgans, the BlackRocks, the power players in control. They're not going to lose this game, guys. But check this out. See, most people are not even going to be aware of this technology. Digital assets are not digital. Galaxy Digital. That's who is partnered with Goldman Sachs, and they're tokenizing their projects. Check that out, their technology and part of their game plan, guys. They have what they call the GK8s, right? And from my understanding, they bought the technology from one of the exchange, I think the exchange that went belly up, but that's irrelevant. But then they grew that technology. But check out what their roadmap is. And the Goldman Sachs type players of the world who already have trillions under management are going to be using power players from Wall Street. Now, check it out. GK8's regulation-ready solution includes both unhackable cold vault as well as a patented MPC vault. The company's unique cold vault, which features an insurance policy up to $1 billion, is the solution on the market that can create you can create, sign, and send blockchain transactions without receiving input from the internet, which grants institutions an unparalleled level of cybersecurity, having no openings for hackers to exploit. See, guys, when you hear the crazy, naive things like, oh, the whole world's going to run on XRP rails. No, they're not. People don't want to send billions and billions of dollars over rails that can be hacked. And that's not a knock on XRP. Guys, how can it be a knock? It's just a reality. Stupid people say stupid things. You got to understand the game. If you had $1 billion, would you run it on somebody else's rail No. Would you run it on a rail that's not guaranteed? No. Would you run it on a rail that's totally decentralized, that no one's responsible for? No. You got to understand, guys, crypto is not what we think it is. Everyone wants centralization. Everyone, when it comes to real money. 99.9% of the world want a safety net. If I send you money and it doesn't get there, I want my money back, right? And that's fine for $10, $100, $1,000, even $10,000. But when you send 100,000, a million, 10 million, 100 million, a billion, it doesn't show up. Yeah, I got hacked. No, you want that insurance policy. But anyway, that's the type of technology they have. But check this also out. The cold vault is paired with patented high-performance MPC wallet used for high-frequency automatic transactions. They're instant. This GK8 also supports the secure tokenization of traditional assets. Features general support for all EVM-compatible Layer 1 blockchains. And it also grants instant access to the Layer 2s for smart contracts. Guys, smart contracts are the future. And unfortunately, whether we like it or not, the base layer for the dominant asset, the dominant movement of tokenized assets is going to be on Ethereum, period. Now, something may change tomorrow, but the reason you need to understand that, guys, is you're going to hear all the crazy hype of all the projects, right? We've already heard, like, for instance, Ripple and XRP are moving into tokenized assets. Okay, that's fine. But do you really think they're going to compete in a big way? No. They may get their share. Same with Stellar XLM. They may get their share, right? But if it's not part of Wall Street, guys, and these mega banks, and definitely if it's not on Ethereum, to me, out the Ethereum ecosystem, outside of HBAR, I don't see any other entities competing for tokenized assets. So when you hear the craziness, right, it reminds me of when I watch the Shark Tank. People go online and they, whatever their gizmo is, and they pitch like Mark Cuban and Mr. Wonderful, and they're like, hey, this is $1 trillion, asset class, right? And if we only get 1%, that would put us to so-and-so. It ticks off all the sharks, right? The common person thinks it makes sense. Oh, wow, if I just get 1%, I'd be a $100 million company. Yeah, but you're taking from the power players of the planet. You're not going to steal transactions from JP Morgan or Swift, right? You're just not going to do it. You may eke out a living and take it from the new part of the market, but you're not going to start stealing the lion's share of tokenized assets or payments or anything from the power players of the world. They already have the customers, period. They make trillions of dollars. In this article, early on, it talks about how, here we go, JP Morgan has already made $700 billion in short-term loan transactions. They've done $700 billion in the tokenized collateral network. And guys, this article is like 7, 8, 9 months old. They've probably already made $100 billion in tokenized assets. How much do you think profit they make on that, right? And that's with their customers, guys. And their customers, and this is one thing I have learned from David Schwartz, which I already knew, but it really solidified when he talked about how when they partnered with the banks, he talked about how they were all excited. We got the news release, and then we showed them the technology, and we became partners. And he goes, they didn't want to bring our technology or do transactions with their customers. And he goes, we want to do we want to start transferring billions of dollars. And David Schwartz literally said, well, we don't. They were just in it for the hype and the recognition of, oh, being future forward. But they didn't really want to do it. No one's in a hurry, guys. So the legacy banks and the BlackRocks, they're chasing their own money, and they're going to block anyone from getting into their space. If you ask me, that's what the Ripple SEC court case is all about. They really thought, hey, that might be a future competitor. Shut them down. And it would have shut down probably 9 out of 10, if not 9.9 out of 10 of all crypto companies if they couldn't have fed that $100 million lawyer bill, right? But anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. But here's my point of this entire video is, guys, there's going to be a lot of opportunities in crypto in a lot of different narratives. I highly recommend you do some research of Wall Street, of a bank. Find out who dominates, all right? If you want to talk about payments or tokenized assets, you go, okay, well, who has all the tokenized assets? Who gets the lion's share? Who's the dominant player? Oh, BlackRock, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, Barclays, right? Those guys. Well, see what their roadmap is. Because then when you listen to some influencer tell you some very naive information of how this tech's going to rule the world, you're like, well, okay. They have tech too. And they got all the power, all the customers, all the money, unlimited money to build out whatever. There is no tech. And I just created a video talking about that, guys. And if you want to understand, the video, the thumbnail is, if you build it, they will come. You need to watch that video if you think that tech matters. Now, that being said, I want everyone to understand this. This has nothing to do with FUD. This is just reality. Look at the big picture, shrink it down, right? I want to know all the players, right? All of them. And then we can feed it down. We can go down the rabbit holes to see if someone has a game plan to overthrow, say, Swift. No one does. How do I know that? It's not going to happen because I've read Swift's game plan, and it's damn good. They ain't going anywhere. They're going to get stronger, more dominant, right? JP Morgan, they're not going anywhere. They're going to get stronger, more dominant. How do I know that? I've read their roadmaps, right? You've got to go do some research. That's why I think I get so much hate, because people's never heard the truth. They've only heard one side of the story. I can't tell you how many times people go, where do you get your information? Never heard that before. That's because you've never done any real research. You've done biased, half research. You flip on CNN and you think something's true. At least counterbalance it. Go watch Fox. So now you got two opinions, and then you can do some real research and go find out what the truth is. Same with crypto, right? That's how you do research, guys. You open up your brain, you go, I don't care who wins. And I don't. I just want my portfolio to win. I want you to win. That's why I started this channel. I want to make money in my portfolio. And when I do my research, I share with you guys. And it gets a lot of hate, and it's not the best way to grow a channel, guys. The best way would tell you the opposite. Would read this article and talk about ONDO, which I'm glad I said that because I almost forgot. I'm going to look at the chart. Talk about Mantra. Talk about XRP. Talk about Stellar, talk about HBAR, right? Talk about all those projects and tell you you're going to make life-changing gains. Well, I don't believe that, and it's not true. I truly believe that in the future, the power players, no ifs and buts about it, are going to come out of the Ethereum ecosystem, and I think HBAR is going to get their share. Are they going to get the lion's share? No. But they have Wall Street behind them, and they are doing massive transactions when it comes to tokenized assets, and they're already being a pioneer. See, that's the thing about it, guys. You know, when I did that video on Build It, They Will Come, what are they waiting on, guys? You can see who's winning, right? I want to show you another thing, and I left, and then I'll let you go. Look at this. When you talk about like Galaxy Digital, no one ever talks about them. I bet most people have never even heard them. Well, anyway, I thought it was on there. They have already tokenized, just an example, the most expensive violin in the world. It's like 1970 or 1758 violin. It's worth $9 million. They've already tokenized it. Galaxy Digital did that with their new platform, right? And so the customers of like the Goldman Sachs of the world, not me and you, we might get a piece of it one day after it trickles down, but they've already tokenized that violin. So the way that's going to work, guys, is now if it's worth $9 million, I can buy $10 worth. I can buy $1,000 worth. And fast forward 10 years from now, that violin's going to sell for $20 million. I doubled my money, right? And the cool thing about tokenized assets, and this is why it is the future, is what I just said. Because now, if Donald Trump wants to build a $50 billion high-rise in Manhattan, he goes to investors and go, hey, I need, 50 million buy-in, right? 5 million buy-in, whatever. And here's what your return is going to be. I mean, you can't get in that, right? It doesn't matter what they do. If they want to build a whole city somewhere in Texas, right, they're going to go get money. If, Elon wants to send a new rocket, to the moon and say, hey, if this works out, this is the money. The average person has never had access to that. Tokenized assets is going to do that for us. But unfortunately, it's going to run on the big boys' rails. Period. For the most part. That doesn't, again, mean that there's not 20 tokens out there that can't rip in this bull run that's involved in tokenized assets. But what that tells me is, long term, at best, they get their share. They're not going to get the lion's share. They're not going to be dominant. They're probably going to disappear, right? And the speculation is not, prices are not going to maintain. Because some of these, like Ondo's at what, 2 or 3 billion, I believe, right now, market cap. Now, it may be the winner, right? It's got some BlackRock and all those boys behind it. It may be the winner. I don't know. But it is an ERC20 token, right? So it has a future, and it could get to 100 billion, right? It's one of the few. But the majority of ones that don't meet the criteria of being on the Ethereum ecosystem and being backed by Wall Street, they're probably, guys, they're not going to make a dent in tokenized assets, at least in the next, say, 10 years, right? I'm not looking for some 30 years to find out who the next Google is. I'm sticking to this bull run. Anyway, guys, I know I'm rambling on. If you need some help with your portfolio, I do one-on-one coaching. It's only $250 for 3 Zoom or phone calls. We'll get you squared away, get you a game plan. And guys, whether you take me up on it or not, do yourself a favor. It's not financial advice, but if you're going to play this game, do your own research on everything. Find out who the real players are, who's dominating whatever sector or whatever it is you want to. Start there. Read their roadmap. Because, guys, for the most part, I'm almost guessing, let's just say payments. If you did what I did and you went like I did and said, okay, there is new technology, and I knew the ISO and the banking reset, I fell for all that crap. But immediately after hearing about all that, I started doing deep dives of Ripple's plan. I started to understand their token supply and how they make money from their token. So I started there. Then I went to JP Morgan and HSBC and Goldman Sachs. And then I went to Providence blockchain, right, which is a lot of the medium-sized banks all over America that have got together, have their own blockchain that they use. I could go on. And once I did that, I realized ain't nobody taking over Swift. JP Morgan's not going anywhere. You out of your mind? There's no good. There might be a few new players pop up, but they're not going to be dominant players. Because, guys, do yourself a favor. Whatever blockchain project you think is amazing, go compare it to a JP Morgan. Go compare their numbers to JP Morgan. right, who does moves 10, 11, 12 trillion dollars a day. They run over $2 billion a day in and out of the repo market on blockchain. They already have instant settlement. I could go on and on and on. All right, guys, that's all I got. Hit that like button. Let me know what you think in the comment section. But either way, come back and be part of this community. One thing, I know it's too late, but there's the ONDO chart. Guys, that's a good looking chart. Considering how much things have pulled back, that's a good looking chart. I think ONDO has a lot more upside, and it's going to be a blue chip. All right, take care, guys.